Good morning, and thank you for sharing your Friday with us. I am Louisa here to keep you informed and entertained. 欢迎收看 Louisa 报报，每天给你最新奇、最有趣的新闻。And on our show today, we will be speaking with the president of Palau, President Johnson Torbiong, who is currently in Taiwan to mark the opening of the direct flights that will allow travelers to enjoy the wonders of Palau with no hassle. President Torbiong also shared his views on the potential future collaboration with Taiwan, given our diplomatic ties and strong relationship since 1999. 跟台湾有友好邦交的帛琉总统 Johnson Torbiong 专程来台湾访问，推广帛琉跟台湾的直飞航线。今天在卢伊赛报报特别专访帛琉总统，跟台湾的民众分享帛琉美丽的观光资源以及环保议题。Hello, President Torbiong. Welcome to Taiwan. It's a great pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Louisa.
Palau and Taiwan, we share a special bond and friendship given our diplomatic ties since 1999. And since the establishment of our relationship, we have worked hard on hand in hand in various projects that are significant to our nations, whether it's in agriculture, fishing, or tourism. And our relationship is only getting stronger and stronger, especially with the direct flight that's making it accessible and convenient for our vacationers to travel between these two countries, which is a milestone for both countries. Now, what other areas do you think, Mr. President, that we can collaborate or work together in the future to strengthen this partnership so it's a win-win situation for all?
Well, let me say that the Republic of Palau cherishes the relationship that we have since 1999, and I became the first ambassador to the Republic of China. So there's a special place in my heart for this country. I want to thank the people of the Republic of China for such generous support they have shown for Palau. With your stimulus grants, we have established so many projects in Palau, from agricultural projects to road connections, to bridges, to fish hatcheries, to hospitals, etc. So you have done so much for Palau. What Palau has done for your country is to promote your status in the international community. We speak for your country in the United Nations, to support your participation in the World Health Organization, in the Civil Aviation Administration, climate change, because you have no standing in the United Nations. But in terms of development, I want to emphasize more the private sector economic development through investment from your corporations and businesses. I'm here to promote tourism, the leading industry in Palau. So I think in terms of developing closer ties, we need what we call people-to-people diplomacy, and that takes place in the private sector. We also like to promote a medical referral program for our people to your wonderful hospitals. Those are at the works right now. But in the meantime, the emphasis is to promote tourism. And tourism includes air service, hotel accommodations, and other entertainment activities. So I'm inviting the people of this country to invest in Palau, and Palau will be behind them all the way.
And this leads us to our next question, Mr. President. You're here to attend the ceremony marking the opening of the direct flight between Palau and Taiwan. What does the government of Palau want to achieve with this move?
Of the most important development policies that I have is to promote private sector development. And in terms of potentials, tourism is the leading one besides fishing. And therefore, we like to promote direct flights from different cities around the Pacific Asia region to Palau. And we like to also invite those who invest in hotel facilities and resorts to join hands with us, because it takes airline industry and hotel industry and our government to work together to promote tourism. And at the same time, we try to promote ecotourism, because to Palau, the environment is very important to tourism. We have great diving destinations for scuba divers. We have ecotourism to enjoy the environment. So it's the balancing act between preserving the environment and at the same time promote tourism. So we need investors to promote tourism so that Palau can become one of the most attractive destinations in the Pacific. Furthermore, Palau is very concerned about the preservation of our oceans. In fact, we promoted the preservation of sharks. And Palau has become the world's first shark sanctuary. So we like to promote tourism to protect the environment, and therefore ecotourism, high-end tourism is very important to us.
And speaking of environment, global warming and climate change has been a threat somehow to Palau, especially with the rising of the sea levels. Does the government have any plan or what's in the works to tackle this problem?
Climate change and the rising sea level is a global or at least a regional issue to the low-lying islands, and Palau has joined the small island developing states to urge the world to work with us to reverse or at least mitigate the threats of climate change, the rising sea level. It doesn't take only Palau to work on this project or this issue. It takes the whole region and the world. So Palau will attend the Rio 2020 international high-level conference to try to convince the most polluting nations of the world, the most industrialized, to do their best to help the low-lying island states mitigate the impact of climate change, or at least reverse the trend. Climate change is a global issue. Most people do not realize how it affects them. But it's not limited to the small island states or the low-lying island states. It affects the coastal states as well. But there's a tension between development and the preservation of the environment. So it takes the world, the whole international community to work together on how to mitigate the impacts of climate change.
And as an ally, how can we collaborate and work together to come up with a solution to this problem?
Climate change is caused by greenhouse emissions. And therefore we in Micronesia and the Pacific are working very hard to promote the transition from the use of fossil fuel to generate energy and power to the use of renewable energy. We have declared a policy known as GEM, GEM, or Green Energy Micronesia. So we are moving toward the use of solar energy, wind power, etc., because that will at least mitigate the intensity of the climate change.
And it's fair to say that you're a good friend of ours. You serve as ambassador of Palau to Taiwan from 2001 to 2008, and just before you took office as the president of Palau. So you do have a deep understanding of our land. I'm not sure when you were here last time, but this time around, have you seen any growth, any change to Taiwan?
Yes, I've seen more growth in terms of public infrastructure, in terms of the economy. But it's the same wonderful city, very high-tech society. People are very industrious, very pro-development, which I would like to borrow for our people. We need to be aggressive to fight for our own survival, to be self-sufficient, to promote industry and economy. So I want to say, I want to thank this country, the Republic of China, for being a close friend of Palau. You are not only a friend, you are the closest ally of Palau geographically. And I think in terms of the several nations which have diplomatic ties with the country, Palau is one of the closest, if not the closest.
Can you also further explain the relationship between Palau and Taiwan these recent years? Has it strengthened in any way?
It has been strengthened over the years. I think every month we can see more interactions between your government and our government in terms of what we call public projects developments. Your ambassador, Her Excellency, Ambassador Maggie Tien, is one of the best ambassadors we ever had. Since her term, we have built so many public projects, developed so many facilities in Palau, from food security to conservation to public infrastructure to solar power systems. We have so many street lights, courtesy of your country, lining the roads of our country, which use solar to run them. So we are very grateful for that. And your country has several flights coming directly to Palau. It takes about 4 hours to fly between these two places. And we also have seen your investments in terms of hotel facilities. You have the Palasia, you have a Palau Royal Resort, and you bring so many people to our islands, and they bring money to our economy. So we appreciate that very much.
Like you said, tourism plays an essential part in Palau's economy. Not to mention that Palau is known as a tropical paradise. We have a lot of tourists going there every year, and because it's a perfect getaway spot. Can the president share with us how the government is able to preserve the natural environment with a high number of vacationers, especially Taiwan tourists?
We have in place a public law which protects what we call the marine areas and the land areas, known as protected area network. We have designated certain areas in the oceans and on land which are to be preserved in their natural state. And to promote and protect and conserve those areas, we now impose I think it's $15 departure fee to be assessed against non-Palauans, which shall be deposited into that account. It's called the green fee, and that fee will be used to protect and conserve those areas on land and water. We also have certain conservation areas which we have established. Also, with your country's assistance, we have established what we call marine sanctuaries in every state of Palau, which means no fishing in those areas. And we also have a very effective recycling law. All empty bottles and cans, whether plastic or tin, are collected and brought to a recycling center, and you pay, and the government pays 5 cents for every can and every bottle, so it's clean. And I think the most important thing is for the people to be sensitive to the preservation of the environment, and our young generation are so sensitive to the preservation of the environment, so it begins from the inside out, and we are helping to enact laws and regulations to ensure that we take the right action to protect our waters and our land.
Which is really important because...
Very, very important to us. It's a small country, but it has so many friends around the world. And it's a small country, but we have a seat in the United Nations, and we speak for the benefit of everyone, including your country. Thank you very much for this interview.
Welcome.
And let me say thank you to your president, President Ma Ying-jeou. I'll be here to attend his inauguration with the First Lady from Palau, and I will thank him for all the help that has been extended to Palau since I took office and even before. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you here, and we hope you come back again.
Yeah, very soon. 谢谢.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for more on this interview, you can log on to www.cts.com.tw for more details. And that's it for this Friday edition. I am Louisa Lee, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Enjoy your weekend ahead. Meanwhile, stay with CTS for the latest weather update and for more news you need.